From script to screen, every film is brought to life by visionary creatives and executives, all sharing one mission: to captivate the audience. Hosted by award-winning movie strategist Kevin Goetz, our podcast, Don't Kill the Messenger, offers a filmmaking masterclass through intimate conversations with Hollywood's most influential voices. And now, your host, Kevin Goetz.
In Hollywood, the role of a producer is not only about getting the movie made, it's also about producing the film once it's already in motion. Protecting the story, protecting the emotional core while still making a movie commercial, protecting the filmmaker's vision, and protecting the actors bringing it to life. My guest today built a career doing exactly that. Male-Shuler Donner is one of the most influential and adaptable producers of the modern Hollywood era. Her films have grossed billions worldwide, and she has repeatedly reinvented herself ahead of where both audiences and the industry were headed. From helping usher in the youth-driven films of the 80s, to producing prestige dramas and commercial hits, to becoming one of the key architects of the modern superhero era with X-Men years before Marvel became Marvel, Lauren has consistently shaped mainstream filmmaking across generations. She's also a longtime philanthropist and industry advocate whose latest Broadway production, The Lost Boys, is already one of the season's most talked about new musicals. Lauren, I cannot tell you what a pleasure and an honor it is to have you here today.
Thank you, Kevin. And it's an honor to be here.
We go back some years.
Yes, we do.
I've been doing it for 40 years, and I remember when I wanted to produce my first movie, there were two producers that I went to. The second was David Permit. The first was Male-Shuler Donner. And you were extremely encouraging, and I don't even remember what the project was at the time, but I just envisioned and tried to manifest working with you at that time. I found you so intense and serious and professional, but kind and generous, and also beautiful on top of that.
Oh, thank you. I hope I gave you good advice.
You did. And Phew. We should call out right away, let's get it out of the way,
Yeah.
Your sister, Barbara Shuler, who was Barbara Gross when I met her, was for years at Warner Brothers.
Right. International research. I always thought she was the key. Their international grosses were always higher than everybody's. And I always thought it was Barbara because they sent her to all the territories.
All the territories.
And she would figure out who was the audience and how to get to them.
And if I recall, she really loved qualitative research. She
Yes.
loved focus groups, didn't she?
She did, yes.
And she had great relationships because when I asked Barbara, I was going abroad for the first time for business, and I asked Barbara to set meetings up for me at the Warner Brothers offices, which she happily did. They just revered her.
Yeah.
So
Good.
Call out to you, Barbara. We love you.
Yeah, that's great.
So the two of you grew up in Cleveland.
Yep.
What was it like in the early years of the two of you growing up? Was it a happy childhood?
Yeah, it was. You know, it was the Midwest. We were very different, as most siblings are. So I had my group of friends and she had hers, but I would say, yes, we had a pretty good childhood.
What was your primary interest and what was hers? I'm just curious.
As a child?
Yeah.
I read a lot, but I had a lot of friends. So
you were
I would
social.
Play a lot. I was very social.
Was she more sort of internal?
Yes, she was more internal, yes.
Did you have a movie that influenced you as a kid?
No, I went to a lot of movies with my cousin.
Tell me about what you saw that you remember. Like,
I tell you what, because I'm old. So I remember the Abbott and Costello movies when I was really young. And I remember Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin. And I remember just reenacting the movies with my cousin.
Were you a good student?
I was not a great student. I am ADD. So I was good in what I liked. I was very good in anything that required story. I was good in English and social studies.
Were you a good writer?
I'm okay.
But you liked reading.
Yeah, I loved reading. And I can write. I'm just, there's so many better writers.
So what gets the girl who is from Cleveland to get into the business?
I was in editing first.
Oh, you were editing before even in the camera department?
Briefly, yes. I didn't know anybody in Hollywood. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Went to school in the East and then came out.
What school did you go to?
Boston University.
Ah. What'd you major in?
The first 2 years general. Second 2 years, I transferred to the film school and majored in film.
And so what got you interested in editing and then camera work?
I knocked on doors, and
But women didn't do that then. I remember
didn't know
Dee Dee
that.
Allen.
Of course, I loved
She was
Dee Dee
on a
Allen.
lot, right?
Yeah, she was great. And also Verna Fields was great. I eventually ended
Jaws.
up at Motown, and we all used to hang out in her office. That was the first time I met Spielberg. She had pinball machines.
Suzanne DePass was a guest on the show.
Oh, I love Suzanne. We didn't love each other then.
Oh,
But-
did you know each other then?
It was very strange the way Motown was. The record company was in Hollywood. We were based at Universal. They really were not entwined. And there was competition. So when I was there, they were making The Wiz. So Rob was in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Barry Gordy when both of us went to see the dailies of Lena Horne, because who didn't want to see Lena Horne singing?
Oh,
So I went to
wow.
see some of those, and he was there. And then I went to see, of course, Michael.
So she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Absolutely good
She
for
got
her.
very emotional on the show when she talked about it,
Oh.
which kind of really moved me. So you knock on doors.
And one of the places was a medical and educational company. They needed an assistant editor basically to cut negative, which we don't do anymore. Ended up at NBC, went in. They said, we'll take your resume. I was like, I'm sick of this. Everybody's taking my resume. Can I see somebody? And they let me see this woman. 4 or 5 months later, after I'm editing, 6 months, I get a call from this woman. She goes, we have something called vacation relief. Would you like to do it? I said, sure, not knowing what it is. I was a token woman, 3 women, 300 men. And it's what it sounds like. When the people go away on vacations, we're there to pitch in. So I moved around, learned all this stuff about videotape. And finally, I said, I would like to be camera because I know that. And I knew that I could never get on any of their big shows. So I moved to the local news and I shot the news and I shot all this stuff. And then I left and I freelanced and I shot everything from game shows to sitcoms to Rolling Stones concerts.
Locally in Cleveland area?
No, all in LA.
Oh, so what got you to L.A.?
I took a plane.
Wait, there's a funny line I got to just tell you. Betty Davis, of course, is rumored to have said to this young starlet who wanted so desperately to be a star, Miss Davis, how do I get to Hollywood? And she says, take Fountain, which is, of course, a major thoroughfare in L.A.
Do you know her great one about Now Voyager?
Tell me.
All right, so Max Steiner was a composer that everybody knew, and his music, you were very aware of it. It was very melodic. So now Betty Davis is in Now Voyager. She starts as a little mouse of a woman under her mother's thumb. She goes away on a voyage in the sea, and she meets Claude Rains, and they fall in love, and she comes back, and she's a strong woman. So the shot was to be at the top of the stairs, and she will walk down the stairs. She says to the director, is Max Steiner going to score this? And the director says yes. And she says, either Max Steiner is going to come down the stairs or I'm going to come down the stairs, but we are not going down together.
Oh, that trumps my Fountain. Oh, Lauren,
right.
That's funny.
So
All right, so how did you get to Hollywood?
I had done really well in school in majoring in film.
TWA,
TWA.
Pan Am.
I knew I wanted to be in the film business from college. And I stayed, though, in Martha's Vineyard, which I loved. And my sister had moved to LA, she and her husband.
Oh, she had already moved.
And she wrote me a letter and said, the film business is out here. What are you doing?
Wait a minute. She wrote you a what? A letter?
Letter, yeah, way back when.
They used to do letters.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You get them to open them up for your mailbox. From my sister. So, you know what? It was just what I needed. She kicked me in the butt. I came out and knocked on doors.
When did you get into producing, or how did you get into
So
producing?
I got into producing. I was the only woman freelancing.
In the guild, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of people knew me. So I was able to transition to become an associate producer in television. Then I was in a car accident and I was out for months. I had a friend who knew Nancy Myers, who was the creative executive at Motown before she started writing and directing. She was leaving, my friend told me. So I went to Motown. They gave me a script. I gave them back 5 pages of constructive criticism.
And?
And they said, this is good. You're hired. And that script was, they got us Friday. And I became an associate producer on it.
Because you gave them such good feedback.
So I came in, took her job as a creative
Wow.
consultant. So then I was there for a while, and eventually I went on my own. And at Motown, I produced a movie for television that Joel Schumacher wrote and directed. There was a woman at NBC that said, Joel, if you write a good script, I'll let you direct it. Her name was Deanne Barkley. So Joel and I produced this little movie called Amateur Night at the Dixie Bar and Grill, which was really well received.
TV movie?
Yeah, Tom Shale gave it like one of the 10 best movies ever made for television.
And was this one of his first directorial? Because he was a production designer, correct?
Yes.
And a very good one.
Yes.
And his movies all have a certain kind of...
Yes, flair and look and design.
Yeah. Did you produce Lost Boys?
Yes, my company did. Yes, absolutely.
That was the first movie I ever worked on.
And I said, Dick, you cannot make it. Really? I said, we will not make this movie unless Joel Schumacher directs it. Because I knew he'd be good. It's the first movie you worked on.
Yep.
Wow.
And you know, and you were at the test, I'm sure.
Yes.
And it was, I'm going to tell you where it was.
Where?
Studio City, Book Star, on Ventura Boulevard.
And I tested it there. And that is, I guess, the night I probably first met you.
Yeah.
And I was probably taking names of audience members coming in on a clipboard.
Huh.
You said that you made a call to, I think, John Hughes, and it just brought up a memory in my mind. When I was a little pisher coming up, one of my dearest friends was a guy called Jerry Panessa, who was a real mentor to me. And Jerry, he ran Michael Cimino's company, and he ran Neil Diamond's company, and then he was an executive at UA. And I remember him telling me some 40 years ago, I gave my script to Male-Shuler Donner. He said something like, boy, is she driven. She gets stuff done. She called me on Christmas one year.
His name is very familiar.
Christmas Eve or
Jerry
Christmas.
Panessa is a really familiar name.
Yeah, because he was a marvelous guy. And everyone liked Jerry. He was one of those guys that everyone liked. And his wife was Jody Brockway, who ran movies and minis at NBC, I believe.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, Jerry's now passed
Christmas.
away, but he told me that you called him on Christmas. And I said,
I had a lot of
it has
moxie.
never left me that she wanted what she wanted, and I loved that.
Yes.
And I love that. I don't know what else
driven.
to say. I so admired that. I'm like, now that I thought took a pair of, you know what.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you did the movie Mr. Mom, which really popped, right? So how did that transpire?
I read the National Lampoon, and I read a story by a guy named John Hughes, and I thought, this guy's funny. I somehow got his phone number, and we bonded on the phone. He's from Chicago. I'm from Cleveland. Our fathers have both gone bankrupt. We really sort of bonded on the phone. And he was in L.A. He wrote a script called Senior Prom, which was made. And ABC had a motion picture department, and he was writing something for them. I pitched him something he didn't want to do, so I came onto his movie. And we talked every night. And one night he was telling me his wife, Nancy, was in Arizona, and he was in charge of the boys. And he was like a savant. He was like an idiot. I realized that he must have gone from either high school or college to Nancy and like never been on his own. And I was like on the floor laughing. And he said, I have 80 pages of a script called Mr. Mom in a drawer. Would you like to read it? I said, yeah, sure. And it was Mr. Mom. It needed work. And so I gave him notes, and I had then a 120-page fantastic script.
What studio did it?
Well, it's a long story. We started at Paramount, and like an idiot, I brought on Aaron Spelling because people were telling us it was a TV movie, and we were afraid it wouldn't go as a feature.
So now it's encumbered.
Not only that, but we had a director for it, and Aaron decided he didn't like it. Michael Eisner said, Aaron, you don't know what you're doing. I don't know what he said. But we then I ran to Ned Tannen, and Aaron ran to David Beagleman, where it got set up. So we set it there, and it was distributed by Fox.
That's interesting.
It was really interesting because Fox...
So Fox bought it in turnaround, or?
No. Beagleman's company financed it.
Ah, got it.
And they gave it to Fox for distribution.
Got it.
Fox had a movie with Michael Douglas called Star Chamber, which
That's a good movie.
They thought it would be their big movie, and it wasn't. It flopped. So they moved. They were going to just release us locally, and in California, and if it did well...
Right.
So they put us, and it did. We did well, and they put us right into the Star Chamber theaters.
How did you cast Michael Keaton?
Lori Perlman was an agent at CAA. John was writing it. We were developing it, and she came to my office and said, "I have this client you have to see. There's a movie called Night Shift, And I said, okay, great. I went to see it. And in the middle of the movie, I wanted to run out of there and get this guy.
Wow.
I said, oh my God, this is the guy from Mr. Mom. That's right.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So first you did.
After Amateur Night at the Dixie Barn Grill, Joel called me and said, I have a script called St. Elmo's Fire. Will you produce it? And we do that.
Where did he get the script? He didn't write it.
He wrote it with Carl Kurlander. Yes, he
didn't
did.
know he
They co-wrote
wrote
it.
it.
Yes, yes, yes.
It was probably my favorite film that year, for sure.
Yeah.
And that soundtrack is still one of the best soundtracks ever.
It's a great soundtrack, but it's also a great score by David Foster. Because when we were done with the movie, Joel said, we thought it'd be an album, song drop.
Sure.
And he said, I think it's score. When I was growing up, we had scores that were on the radio from Exodus and Peyton Place and all these things. I remember I went to Columbia and I said, can't we get this song on the radio? It's so gorgeous. So we had two songs. One was Man in Motion, which David, and I said, David's going to be on the radio, squeeze in St. Elmo's Fire. It doesn't make any sense at all. A Man in Motion, David was involved with the Special Olympics, and that was what Man in Motion was.
You're kidding me.
No, that's what it was.
So let me ask you about Richard. I know you were married to Mark Rosenberg, who was an executive at Warner Brothers when you first met Dick. But everyone who's been around long enough knows that Lauren Shuler and Dick Donner had one of the great love affairs of our industry.
I was super lucky.
And I really wanted to pause for a second to not only pay homage to Dick, but also to the two of you and the love that you had, the love that you probably still have.
Yeah.
And what was it like meeting him and coming into his orbit?
Well, I was a young producer. I had this great script, Ladyhawke. And when I went to meet him, I was intimidated, but I really felt he was the right director for the movie. Again, I was driven. I just kept trying to think of what his problems would be, and I would try to think of what the answer would be. Because initially we were going to shoot in Czechoslovakia, so I realized that Dick was a very social guy and liked to go out a lot. So I was thinking, where could he go out in Czechoslovakia and find that? From that to what are the story holes in the script and how do we fix them and what are my solutions? So,
So that was true supporting the director.
Yeah, it was truly supporting the director.
In every way. And also anticipating
what
he needed, what the problems might be.
Yes. And it's a long story, but eventually we took it to Warner's. They never really moved forward on it. The weekend after Private Benjamin opened to, a huge box office number, I went to the head of Warner's and said, can I have my script back? Because, you have 100 of them, and this is like one of only 5 of mine, and I think I can set it up elsewhere. So he nicely gave it back to me and turned around.
Who was it that did that?
Bob Shapiro.
Okay.
Then it went over to that Lad Company, and they bought it.
And it was ultimately distributed through?
Warner's Domestic, Fox Foreign.
When did you first have the romantic spark with Dick?
I didn't because I was married, and also he was Dick Donner, and also he was older than me.
So you do production, and you
get
through production.
Right when we start filming, I know there's a huge problem between my husband and I because I haven't heard from on day one of photography. But Dick has. So I call my husband. We ended up shooting in Italy. I said, get your ass over here. It was over. And I was devastated.
You told Dick right away?
Yeah, because Dick and I had become very good friends.
Listeners, again, those of you who have produced and those who haven't need to understand the true relationship between a director and a producer. It's a bond like no other for that period of time.
Because you've got
you're in warfare.
Same goal and you're
That's
after
right.
it. And yeah.
When did it happen, though, when you finally...
About 2 weeks later.
And then you were kind of inseparable after that.
I was kind of pushing him away.
Divorce.
Also, but I'll tell you what happened. Because I was such a young producer and he was Dick Donner, he had done Superman and The Omen. I said, I just want to hide this from everybody. Let's just keep it a secret. And that was fun. We were, we'd go on location and we'd sneak into, one of our rooms or we'd sneak into his office for a kiss.
Lauren, I love it.
It was, and that was thrilling. And,
you betcha. And in Italy, no less.
In Italy, no less.
Where in Italy?
All over, from L'Aquila all the way up to Cortina and back down.
I mean, that's
all
a
these
fantasy.
little towns.
You realize that.
It was incredible.
And how long were you together?
38 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
When he passed, you were by his side. Everyone knew it.
Yeah, sure.
He passes. How'd you get over it?
With the help of friends. It took me a very long time. I was like in a fog. That's what happens when you lose a loved one. And ultimately, I went to London. I produced Secret Life of Bees, and I produced a musical based on Secret Life of Bees.
You know, I worked with you on that. I love that.
Yeah, I do remember you worked with me on that. Absolutely, I do. And I produced it with Joe Piccirillo, who you probably remember too.
Remember, I still see him in
Oh,
NYU.
good. But after Dick died, we took the musical to London, and the group, the experience, everything sort of lifted me out of my depression when I got home. Having done that, I came back to LA and I was able to move forward.
Who are your friends that really helped you navigate that tough time?
Carol Daly. Linda Resnick is a really close friend of mine. Marjorie Walsh.
I know Sherry was there too, right?
Sherry. Oh my God.
I know,
Sherry.
right?
Definitely Sherry. Yes. And I have a really close girlfriend who's not in the business. She used to be, named Shelley Hochran, and she helped me. Everybody helped me.
Shelley Hochran.
Oh, you know Shelley. Yeah, she was head of marketing. Yes. She's a really good buddy.
It's great to have that network of people
Yeah.
who are really there for you unconditionally.
Yeah. Well, these women were, yeah.
And you, my dear, have given back beyond anyone's imagination. And when we come back from our break, we're going to talk about your philanthropic work and all that you do for so many. We'll be back in a moment. Listeners, the Motion Picture and Television Fund is a nonprofit charitable organization that supports working and retired members of the entertainment community. This wonderfully run organization offers assistance for living and aging with dignity and purpose in the areas of health and social services, including temporary financial assistance, case management, and residential living, and has been a crucial lifeline to thousands during and beyond critical times that our industry continues to experience. To learn more, visit mptf.com. Please join me in helping others in our industry during times of need. There are so many ways to offer support and get involved. Thank you. We're back with legendary producer Lauren.Shuler Donner. Lauren, we were starting to talk before the break about your philanthropic work and how important it is to you and for you to give back to so many. I know you're sitting on the board of something that's near and dear to my heart,
Yes.
the Motion Picture and Television Fund,
Yes.
of which proceeds go to from both of my books.
Right, that's right.
And of course, I'm an ambassador and help any way I can. In fact, last week, I just moderated a book on Roddy McDowell.
Yeah.
That was done at Book Soup, which
Oh,
was a lot
nice,
of fun for the
nice.
Motion Picture and Television Fund.
Oh, nice.
So why do you choose the causes that you choose?
My husband and I were very involved in animal philanthropy, in helping mostly rescue dogs getting rescued. And I've always been involved in cancer research, very much involved in that.
You said you had cancer.
Twice.
What type?
Breast cancer.
And how are you today?
I'm fine. I'm good.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. But the Motion Picture Television Fund, to me, is really, really close to me also because they have a wonderful home that takes care of many people.
Incredible. In Woodland Hills, yeah.
But they also have social services that help people who are also a little bit older and need money and counseling. But most of all, they help everybody who makes a motion picture for a long, long time. So all the crews, all the vendors, everybody who ever helped. I made about 40 movies and 3 seasons of television and another TV series. Every crew member, every single person who ever helped make a movie, this organization helps them. It helps them in times of like the writer's strike or the fires.
Unemployment for a long period of time.
Yes, any of the
An
unemployment.
injury they have and they can't work. They're a
Child
grip.
care, elder care, health service. They used to have a mobile van that went around. I think they still have that. And that is important to me to give back to them. It's so hard making a movie, and it's so physically wearing and tearing and emotionally that if I can give back, if I can make people aware this service is available to you, if you're in the industry 10, 20 years and beyond.
But you don't just give money. You give your time as well.
Yes, I give
And
money
Jack
and my time.
Valenti always said the
Yes.
greatest gift you can give is the gift of showing up.
Yes.
And you show up and you've been a role model for so many of us who actually walk the walk.
I think we're going to show Dave at the Motion Picture Home this year.
Okay, gosh, you're trumping my interview because Lauren has produced probably 5 movies that are on my favorite all-time list.
Aw.
Dave is one of them.
Dave, I love.
I'm going to give you another name.
Tell me.
Radio Flyer.
Oh, yeah. Tough one. I know. Oh, weepy. Yeah. Oh, tough movie, boy.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Whoa, why did that just come from me?
Whoa.
Wow. Guys, watch that movie. That floored me.
Yeah.
Did Dick shoot it?
Yeah. It was one of the 3 movies Dick and I did together.
Well, let's talk about the genius of never showing the face of the abuser.
Yes. Yes.
I'll just say that, folks, without ruining it. And the performances of those 2 boys.
I know. Elijah and Joey.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
There was something that touched me, Lauren, so deeply about my own childhood. And I did not go through abuse.
Thank God.
But I certainly understood not being experienced and heard and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So there was something so deeply that touched me
Yeah.
for those boys having to be older and thrust into being older than they needed to be.
Yes.
And that's the thing I
Particularly
think.
the older one. Particularly the role
was
that
the
Elijah
protector.
played. Yes, the protector.
What
Right.
made you
Right.
make that movie? Because
It was
I don't
such a
think
beautiful
it did any business.
None. Nobody wanted to
And
see.
thank God you made it.
Yeah. You know, it was a great script. It was a really great script.
Tom Hanks narrated it, didn't he?
Tom narrated. I did 2 movies with Tom. That was one of them.
By the way, please forgive me. Not to say that You've Got Mail is not a
No,
wonderful
no.
movie. It's just not one of
I
my.
would have never guessed Radio Flyer.
I'm going to tell you another one.
Yeah.
Free Willy.
I loved. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. I love
Simon
it.
Windsor.
Yes.
Do you remember that test in Sherman Oaks that we did on Free Willy? The scores that came
Yes.
back?
Do you know what I remember about it? Here's what I remember. I remember, for you that are listening, you know, when you give them, Kevin has told you, you give them cards, and while they're filling out the cards, we are pacing nervously in the theater waiting for the result. While we're pacing, a man comes up to me and offers me $10, and he says, "This is for the whales." And I said, "Oh my gosh." And I said, "No, that's really wonderful. I can't take your money." And I turned to my group. I turned to Dick and Jenny Lou Tugin, who produced it with me. And I said, "You know what? We have to have a number on the end of this movie.
You betcha.
We have to have an 800 number so that people like him can give and help the waters and the whales." And that's what happened. It was amazing. And we were working with Earth Island. Eventually, Earth Island helped us get Keiko out of Mexico. It was heartbreaking.
You really did the right thing.
Yes, we got him out. He would have died there.
Exactly.
He died anyway, but
But you gave it all of your best shot.
I felt we did.
Yeah, and without question. You have a commonality in most of your movies, and they have this true emotional core.
Yes.
That's not a coincidence. Any Given Sunday.
Yes.
I mean, I can name movie after movie after movie that has that. Even Pretty in Pink, by the way.
Yes.
I mean, what is it about you selecting material that speaks to you?
I look at it, and I think because I am from the Midwest, would I see it if I was from Cleveland, Ohio? Would I drive, paying the gas prices, park, stand in line, pay concession prices, popcorn and all that, to see this movie? And if I'm answer in my gut, it's yes, then I pursue it because in my gut it has something to say and it's entertaining. And it says it in the guise of entertainment.
What makes you such a great producer? Like, what is your superpower?
I think part of it is being from the Midwest. And part of it is I just love story.
But let's
I love
unpack,
character.
Let's unpack that for Midwest thing first. So you have a superpower of a gut
A gut, yeah.
that
a
tells you,
Midwestern gut.
will this appeal to regular folks?
That's right. And the coasts.
Got
Is
it.
it sophisticated enough to appeal to the coasts and accessible enough to appeal to the rest of the country?
And then tell me about your superpower in terms of character and story.
Character, to me, it's all about character. Is the lead character, is their want something that we identify with?
The protagonist.
Yes, the protagonist. Something they want. Is there something to root for? Is this character well-defined and surprising and complex? And is the villain not a cartoon, but a real character?
God bless you. I've been screaming this one for, it's the least dealt with script note, or let's say after it's shot, that we have to go and fix, which is the villain's motivation, being too general, not
Can't
being
do that.
too...
Save the world.
Yeah, or exactly. Or
Right.
save the
No.
world, or...
Magneto, when I did X-Men, Magneto was one of the most perfect villains because They were in the Holocaust. His parents were taken by the Nazis. And then when he finally got out of the camp, he hated humans.
Is that in the comic book?
Yes. And that's in our first movie.
I know, but you had the
And
wherewithal
so
to get that
yes.
specific and that
yes.
clear.
That was Bryan's.
That
Bryan did the first scene.
I'm a big Bryan Singer fan. I think he's an enormous talent.
He's a huge talent.
Enormous talent. Just saying. And I got to work with him on his first movies. I did Usual Suspects.
Oh, what a great movie.
And
what
then
a great movie.
He did another really good one, Apt Pupil.
Apt Pupil, yes. That was when I met him, was when he was doing Apt Pupil.
Yeah.
And Ian. I got to meet Ian then, too.
Who did you most enjoy working with as an actor?
Well, I love Hugh Jackman, but we've done 6 movies together. I mean,
so there's
can't
an
help
innate
but love
trust
him.
and shorthand?
Yes. And I found him and foisted him upon Bryan, but it was
Explain
Hugh.
that. What do you mean
well,
you found him?
we had the studio had wanted an actor to play the role, and then eventually the actor wasn't available. And I was looking through tapes, and Hugh had done a self-tape. He was playing Curly in Oklahoma, in London. Actors should not feel badly about self-taping their audition, because I saw in the audition a guy who had a little rascal in him, who was funny and who was charismatic. And I didn't know about the capability to be rough and tough, but I sensed it. After that, I went and saw his one movie that he did in Australia called Paperback Hero, where he plays a rogue. He was got a lot of women and he was charismatic. He could hold the screen. But the problem was he was tall and Wolverine is short. And Bryan was reluctant. And I said, look, I'm sending him up to... Bryan was already in Toronto.
So you called him up to do a screen test?
No. Yes. I called Hugh, came to L.A.
You flew him in?
Yes, we flew in. And then I said, Bryan, I'm sending him up to Toronto. Just read him. I'm not asking anything else. Just read him. Put him on tape.
Were you in pre-production already?
Yeah.
And didn't have your lead?
No. And Anna Paquin was up there, so we had Hugh read a scene with Anna. I just opened the door and Hugh walked in and got the
And
role.
you weren't even there?
No. I trusted it. I trusted him.
And what did Bryan say when he called
Bryan
you?
said that I think the craft service guy was nearby. And said...
I like where this is going already.
And said, oh, there's your Wolverine, huh? Or something like that, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. And he was such a nice guy. You didn't see the tough part, but he's a good actor and he can pull
What
it out.
movie was the hardest one to get made? There had to be one that just took it
Well,
out.
Ladyhawke was really hard to get made. Warner's gave it to me as a writing sample. And I said, I'll get somebody else to write our project. I'd like to make this movie. So it was just hard to get it going. And X-Men was hard. Scott Nimmerfro was a development executive for our company. And Scott...
Donner Company.
The Donners, plural.
The Donner's Company?
Right. And Scott brought the comics to me and said, do you know them? And I said, I don't. So he said, well, here. And he gave me bios from Marvel, all the bios and all the characters. And I remember Dick and I were going to San Francisco. And the first one I read was Logan. And I thought, oh my God, what an unbelievable character. His character was conflicted and was in love with a woman who was in love with him. Somebody had gone and messed up with his body. He would regenerate. He could never die. He had these berserker rage he couldn't control. He was just a really fascinating, troubled protagonist.
Which make the best movie characters.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I read and they all were great. They all had stories like that. They were all complex.
Was it a hard decision for Fox to make it?
No. I went to Warner's and Bruce Berman turned it down because of DC. And I went to Fox, and here's the good news. Bill Mechanic, I'd known when Jeffrey put me under contract, when Disney put producers under contract, right when he got there.
When studio heads put producers under contract.
Yeah. Remember that?
I mean, that was, when
they believed in him. Yes.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
And that went away. Yeah.
So I knew Bill from there. And Bill was now president of Fox. So I called him up and I said, can I bring you a project, X-Men? Yes. We sell it to Bill. I find out later, Bill had sold his X-Men collection, his comics, to finance his 4 years at USC. I had gone to the right guy.
I got
just
chills.
accidentally.
I've got chills.
Just accidentally.
First of all, I love Bill Mechanic.
Who doesn't?
Bill Mechanic has been such a good friend, and he's a wonderful writer, too.
Yeah. He saw it. And then they let him go. And then Rothman came in.
Well, who also then Kept it going, right?
Yeah.
So what's the best advice Dick ever gave you?
Let it go.
Great. Let it go.
Yeah. I was thinking about it this morning.
He used to call me kid. He never knew my name.
He never knew anybody's name.
I know. I've since asked around and said, oh, I love that man. He was so kind to me, but he never knew my name. He called me, hey, kid. And it's a smart thing to do. It somehow makes you feel good.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
It makes you feel good.
Makes you feel young.
How do you handle conflict as a producer when the odds are really against you? How do you deal with that?
Head on. Well, it depends what it is. If it's conflict between departments, then I bring the department heads together, always out of the eye of the crew. Let's understand what's going on and force everybody to play. Now, I mean, it depends. Is it that the dailies are out of focus, or worse, low light, you can't see it? Is it that an actor isn't performing and you can't get it? I mean, there's a zillion things that can go wrong.
Do you remember the lowest testing movie you've ever done?
Well, I'm sure Radio Flyer didn't test that high.
Au contraire.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, no, that tested well. I mean, how could it not? It broke your heart.
I know, but that people didn't want to pay to see that.
Correct. That's a great conversation to have about playability versus marketability.
Yeah.
Because Radio Flyer was a movie that you'd have to be a hard-hearted asshole to not embrace.
Yes.
But
people
it's too sad.
Yeah, it's too sad.
It's just too sad.
Yeah.
That's what it falls under. You said before that part of your superpower was taking great stories and finding the entertainment value in them. In that case, I would say that one was not an entertaining movie.
No.
But it was an important one.
Yeah. But we tried to by telling it from the child's point of view and showing the joy that they were able to find in childhood
and you
despite
did find that.
The situation.
I believe you found that.
Yeah.
I know they're all your children, but is there a particular one that there's a special place in your heart for?
I love Dave.
Aren't you making a Broadway musical out of it?
Yes, we're trying to. Yes. Absolutely.
That's, like, to me, an absolute no-brainer.
Yes.
I mean, Lost Boys is a much bigger gamble in some way.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Well, it is because previous vampire Broadway shows had not done well. So that was the only reason. There was Lestat. There was about two or three.
Really?
Yeah. So we were going into very sort of negative territory, but we had an incredible director.
In Michael Arden.
Michael Arden.
Now,
Unbelievable.
How much did you have to do with it?
There were three producers who went to college together, and it was their idea to do it. They worked on it. I think they approached Michael. Then they went to Warner's, asked if they could get the rights.
Out of respect or contractually?
I respect.
Wow.
And so I was initially involved in, getting the writer.
Have you ever done a show?
I was developing Dave with them.
With Warner's?
With Warner's, yes. And so we were already working together.
How far along is that?
We're bringing on a new director, and we're going to go headlong into it.
Great.
Yeah. Hopefully in 27 or so.
A guest here was Paula Wagner,
mm-hmm.
and Paula has, of course, made a great
segue.
She just did High Noon. I saw that in London, and she's got some other wonderful things on her plate. But she, of course, did Pretty Woman also. Mm-hmm. But she really loves the theater.
Yeah.
She comes from it as an actress first.
Right.
And then, of course, she was married to Robin Wagner, who was one of the great set designers on Broadway.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes. I come to it out of a love for musicals.
Who's doing your music in Dave?
Tom Kitt.
Oh.
Gorgeous score. I mean, just so great. But here's the difference. I prefer making movies and TV. I really do.
Tell me why.
Many reasons. I mean, I was fortunate enough. I decided very early on to go the studio route and not be an independent producer because I didn't want to spend a year raising money. I wanted to spend that year making a movie. And I was lucky enough that they wanted to do my projects, and therefore I never raised money. It was just about developing and making movies. In Broadway, you spend a lot of time raising money. And to me, that's not creative.
You spend even more time finding a theater.
Yes.
It's impossible.
Yes, it's very hard.
One of my dear friends is Tina Sinatra, and she is opening Sinatra in London, which we've been invited to in 2 weeks. And of course, this will come out after the opening, this episode. But it has been just a bear to get booked, and she finally got her theater in the West End. It's really my God, just to find a theater. And that's for Sinatra,
We were incredibly lucky that the Nederlanders Jimmy Niederlander and Nick came to our reading, and they loved it. And they were like, okay, we're on board with you.
Wow.
And you can have the palace. At that time, they said in March, in spring, and then we opened April 26th.
I know my girlfriend, Katie Johnson, has this incredible Cagney.
I just read about that today.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
and Ricky Kane Latimer is producing it with Kate Johnson. And, Katie's father was Lou Edelman, who produced all the Cagney movies and on the Warner's lot,
Yeah.
many of them at least,
Yeah.
and a lot of television. And Cagney means so much to them, but they are having a hard time finding a theater.
It's
And the
hard.
musical is marvelous, led by Bobby Creighton. This guy is the spitting image of
Wow.
James Cagney. I mean, I can't believe how great he is. And hopefully they'll pull it off. Are you excited about the future of movies and television?
I'm excited because I believe that content is king, that content will always be needed, always.
Always.
And so whether it's streaming or it's in a theater, I worry about the theaters. I hope theaters will always be there, and they will. It seems now that the younger generations are flocking to the theaters and that they want the social experience. So that's good. But I mean, my God, some of these series in the past, 10, 20 years are exceptional. It's great. They're like 8 one-hour movies. They're
That is
fantastic.
absolutely the case. I remember for me, that pivotal moment was two things. One, I've told the story before about Handmaid's Tale. When I was going to a theater one night, we were in the Hamptons, Neil and I, and we were going to go to see a movie. And I said, let's stay home and watch this thing that's called Handmaid's Tale. And I watched it, and we were like addicted. But the other one was Sherry Lansing and I were having lunch, and she said to me, Billy and I went to Israel, and so we had a long plane ride, and I watched the entire season of Damages.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen the whole season.
And she said, it is the best thing I've ever seen on television. It rivals any movie. Now, this is Sherry Lansing saying this. And so I go home and I order the season and I watch it, and she is in fact correct. It was spectacular. And
Wow.
that's how I so agree with what you're saying.
I agree. Great filmmakers.
What are you excited about project-wise?
I love animation. And when I was in college and I can't draw, I made a little hand-drawn animated movie. So now I'm developing Ladyhawke as adult animation, like Blue Eye Samurai, hopefully, although they might put us in the family sector, and Goonies animation. This is really fun for me. Really, I just love it. You're involved in every single creative detail. It's just wonderful.
And it takes years, though,
It
doesn't it?
takes years. That's fine. I could do this for years. I could
Because it's
absolutely
the
do this for
creative.
years.
It's not the
Yeah,
raising the
yeah.
money. It's, as you said, it's
That's-
not finding the
it's-
theater.
No.
It's actually
It's
in
actually
the trenches.
making the content.
Yeah.
And I have a bunch of things.
What else do you have?
I have a lot of IP because Dick and I made separate movies, and between the both of us, I have a huge catalog of titles that
Oh,
everybody's
that you wanna
interested in redoing in some fashion. St. Elmo's Fire 30 years later, all kinds of stuff like that. I'm doing a comic book as a series. Jeff Johns used to work for Dick and me, but mostly for Dick, and gave me a comic from his great company called Ghost Machine. He went to all these comic book writers and illustrators all over the world and formed an amazing company that a lot of people have invested in. Chuck Roven's in here doing a series. A couple of us are doing series based on his comics. And I'm about to option a book called A Widow's Charm, a romantasy.
You are just a force, Lauren, truly. And all these projects sound great. On another note, you've always been a tremendous believer in what I do, audience testing. Is there like one experience that particularly stands out to you? I'm going to make this a very leading question. I am going to guess Pretty in Pink stands out.
You know that story, right? So we felt, if you haven't seen the movie, she's a poor girl, falls in love with a rich guy, and at the end, he doesn't ask her to the prom, and it breaks her heart. And we wanted her to end up with Ducky, played by Jon Cryer, because he was such a good guy, and we all loved him. I really wanted him to end up with her, so that's how we shot it. We all did. We play it for the audience. They fill out the cards, which to me are the most important, are the cards. And they want her to end up with the rich guy, with Andrew McCarthy. I'm gutted. How can they want her to end up with the rich guy? We go back, we talk about it. John Hughes says, look, we have to reshoot the
We have to
ending.
try
We
it.
have to do it, yeah. Ned Tannen, who's head of Paramount, and me are like, All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we do. Hoping that this is not the right thing. So we do. We do a whole reshoot and bring back Andrew and get him a wig and rewrite it. And she ends up with Andrew, the rich guy. Now we spill and fill, right? So we show the movie with the old ending and we show the movie with the new ending. Overwhelmingly, they wanted her to end up with Andrew, the rich guy.
Wow.
So who are you making movies for? Not for yourself. You're making them for the audience. So we went with the ending. So it was research that saved the movie. It never would have been as big a movie if we hadn't changed the ending.
That was slightly before my time. But NRG, who I worked for at the time for 16 years, did test it.
Yes.
But I think of your 40 movies, I probably have done 30-something of them.
The only movies that we couldn't test were the X-Men movies.
Yeah, because of security.
Well, there was security. Along with that, our visual effects shots weren't ready.
Well, we do that all the time. But I want to ask you one thing before we go. There was a leak of an X-Men movie. Do you remember this?
Which one?
I don't know, but it came out somehow. The whole movie was leaked before the opening. You don't remember this?
No, I blocked it.
I don't believe that if you shorten the window, the people are going to wait. I think if they want to see it in a theater, they're going to want to see it in a theater.
Yeah.
And so here they had X-Men available to them, and everyone was flipped the F out. No one wanted to see bad quality, sound, and it opened huge.
Well, I think we can all agree that when audiences genuinely want to see something, particularly in a movie theater, they're going to show up. If you build it, he will come. In this case, if you build it, they will come. Male-Shuler Donner, thank you so much for joining me here today and for sharing so many insights into your work and your personal life. We're all really grateful to you. I'm grateful to you, not only for your extraordinary contributions to our industry, but for the work that you do outside of it and the support you give to members of our community. God bless you.
Thank you, Kevin. This has been fun. And keep on doing what you're doing. You make such a difference.
To our listeners, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. For more insights into filmmaking, audience testing, and the business of Hollywood, I invite you to check out my books, Audienceology and How to Score in Hollywood. You can also follow me on my social media. Next time on Don't Kill the Messenger, I'll welcome two of the industry's leading distribution executives, Universal's Jim Orr and Angel Studios' Brandon Purdy. Until then, I'm Kevin Goetz. And to you, our listeners, I appreciate you being part of the movie-making process. Your opinions matter.